What's up, everybody? I am incredibly frustrated. There was a saying during the Crusades. The Christians would say, run into that village and kill everyone in it. The Lord will know his own. You know, I get frustrated. I live in New Hampshire, for those of you who don't know. And unfortunately, something we have to deal with on a pretty regular basis is assholes like this motherfucker coming up here from another state, driving like a fucking asshole. And I find it very frustrating. Now, every state has a culture, right? Now, you're not surprised if I tell you the culture of Arizona is a little different than the culture in California. Those are large states with huge distances between two cities that happen to be in those same states. However, what you will be surprised about is that New England not only has its own culture in and within itself, but each state in New England has its own culture as well. So, this fucking cocksucker. Oh, this dude pisses me off so much. I'm trying to be nice, but I'm really fighting myself not to get mad at this guy. So anyway, every state has its culture. New Hampshire has a culture, Massachusetts has a culture, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, Maine, every one of the states in New England has its own culture. And it's different drastically from the other state. For instance, in Vermont, it's not uncommon to see, a lot of people voting pro-tax and, pro-take care of each other and blah, 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 blah. Whereas in New Hampshire, you never hear that. The reason for that is the culture's different. New Hampshire has a very, very pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of culture. Fucking asshole. And Vermont does not. Not in the same way, at the very least. So what ends up happening is you have these people from Massachusetts, or another state in general, coming to New Hampshire. They come here, they drive like fucking maniacs through all of the slowest areas you're supposed to go in New Hampshire. And, they gotta do 90,000 miles an hour everywhere they go. Now, don't get me wrong, speeding's part of the culture in New Hampshire. Everybody speeds. Nobody drives a fucking speed limit in this state. But the thing is that they usually stay within 10 miles over. It's very, very rare that you see it over that. Mostly because of the fact that the roads don't really allow you to go more than 10 miles over the speed limit. Well, in Massachusetts, it's about 20. 20 miles over the speed limit is kind of, where they hang around at. Well, the issue is that they come up here, and rather than try and conform to the way that everybody in New Hampshire drives, they continue to drive like everybody in Massachusetts, which causes all kinds of chaos and frustration and stupidity and everything else. So, I'm pulling onto the highway, and that's the other thing. A lot of people in Massachusetts are incredibly discourteous when they're driving. And it wears on you after a while if you're not used to it. If you're from New Hampshire, sure as fuck not used to it. So when they drive up here and they act incredibly discourteous, like this fucking asshole here, you have two choices. You can let them get away with it, or you can annoy the shit out of them. I always choose to annoy the shit out of them. Hopefully, they'll realize that New Hampshire will know its own. This state has a very particular flavor to it. It attracts a very particular type of person. Unlike in other places, you can choose to move to California. You can choose to move to Florida. If you choose to move to New Hampshire and you're not the quality of person that New Hampshire wants, the spirit of the state wants, it will chew you up and spit you out. It does not care about you. The culture of the state does not care about you. They don't care about your success or failure. It's all on you. It's all on the choices that you choose to make, not on anybody else's shoulders. The state is very unforgiving. And the culture here reflects that. But when you get a bunch of fucking assholes who drive around like a bunch of fucking pricks, on a Friday afternoon, you're trying to get somewhere, and this cockbite won't stop cutting you off, you start getting frustrated. And it adds to it when they're not from around here. And I actually get particularly angry when it's somebody from New Hampshire acting that way. Because I just don't expect that from people from the state. There's a certain way that we behave, and we expect each other to do that. So, I personally believe, rather than you picking New Hampshire always picks you. My whole family has left New Hampshire at least once and tried to make it in other places. And New Hampshire always calls us home somehow. And that's true in just about every branch of my family. We've tried to leave, we end up coming back. And it just keeps happening over and over and over and over and over again. And that's because of this state, with all of its frustration and all of its irritation and everything that drives you nuts about it, you can't not love it. If you live here for a while, you can't not love it. If you're the right type of person, you fall in love with this place, and it just never goes away. If you're not the right type of person, you'll hate it from the moment you get here to the moment it spits you out. And that's just the reality of the situation. Moral of this story is, if you're from Massachusetts, either learn how to drive like you're from New Hampshire, get the fuck out of my state. Because no one gives a fuck about how you want to drive up here. No one. You're gonna drive right, or someone's gonna get pissed. I'm that guy. Fuck you.